welcome to another Checiegirl Creations DIY video. So today I will be creating in this mini journal. I recently did this page and I'll link this in an iCard in the top right hand corner. And now I'm going to go on to the next page. So this is just some stamping and like leftover paint that I put on here just ages ago. So I think I'm going to follow this color palette with the green and the orange because that looks quite nice. Yeah, so I shall put this into fast forward mode and I will have a voiceover so you know what I'm talking about. So let's get started. Right, so at first I'm going to start off by adding some acrylic paint. So I'm going in with some sap green and I'm going to blend that in with my fingers. I'm just going to put a piece of paper there to protect the like the page underneath. And I thought that was just a little bit dark, and I also wanted to be able to cover up some of that stamped images. And since the paint was going on kind of opaque, I decided to mix that with some chalk primer. And since chalk primer is a primer, it'll just make the paint a little bit more thicker so that it would cover up those stamped images. Actually, I meant to say translucent, so it makes the paint look more opaque, so it'll cover up a little bit more. And I'm also going to do that with the orange as well. And adding that chalk primer also helps it kind of like blend together. And you can still see some of those images, but now I'm going to like go in and try to pick my focal image. And I figured that wherever I stuck my focal image, it might cover up some of those stamp images as well. But those stamp images do add some texture in itself, so that's all right if some of it shines through. So I'm just going through. That book is like an old encyclopedia slash dictionary, so it has different like images and stuff in it for like the definitions of stuff. So I was just going through and I came across this page with doors. And I thought that would look kind of interesting, maybe with like a quote with it. So I've torn that page out and I'm just trying to figure out which door I want. I chose the arched one, so I cut that out with my scissors. And I thought maybe I wanted to like mat it with something. So I'm using these scraps of denim strips that were from denim yarn I made, and I'll link and I'll put an iCard up there to show you, so you can see like how I made that DIY yarn. And yeah, I just had that on the desk and I thought that would be nice to mat it with. It kind of went with the page, that kind of grungy look. So I cut out some of those strips, and now I'm going in with this like paper. This is some old packaging from one of my mixed media subscription boxes. And on this paper, which was really lucky, it had like keys and locks and stuff. So I've torn out some of the keys and like one of the kind of lacy images. This packaging was created like using stamping. So I tore out a lace image as well. Thought that would kind of like go with the feel of it. And I didn't really want the paper to like pop out. I did want it in the background, so I will be going over that with paint. So this is just to create some like visual texture in a way. And so once I tore those out, I'm going to stick those down and in just various areas using some PVA glue. I'm going to make sure that's all stuck down with my palette knife in a bit. There we are. And yeah, that's my favorite way to stick most things down, with a palette knife. And I will go in with some of the like scrap torn papers from the packaging just to add a little bit more. I felt as if there wasn't enough like paper in there to create enough texture, so I'm just adding those to kind of like the edges where I know that they might get covered up by like paint or the focal image. And then once that was stuck down, I let it dry. And then I'm going to go in with some more paint. Again, using the same techniques with my finger, adding the paint, then blending that in with a chalk primer. I didn't want to cover that up too much, so I am going in with quite a thin layer because I did want to see those paper elements through the paint. I just wanted them to kind of be pushed back into the background. So you can see that you can see it a little bit. You can see some of the keys and the locks and stuff shining through, which is nice. And I felt now I wanted to add like a quote. So I thought, because one of the stamp images was a door, and like there was a stamp that said shut the front door, so I thought that would be quite cool to put on there. So I'm gonna write that on this plain piece of book paper. Using my Sharpie, and I'm using a Sharpie because Sharpies dry permanent, so I can use that with mixed media. And I'm also going to mat that phrase with some of those denim yarn strips. And I'll put that in the opposite corner, so then that kind of like, it felt kind of empty just to have the door there, so that fills up the page a little bit more, and that's when I was really like happy with how it was looking. And once I got that placed, I will stick that down with some tacky glue. Oop, I may be jumping ahead of myself. Nope, yep, I'm gonna stick that down with some tacky glue now. Tacky glue is best for like fabrics and stuff just because it's a stronger glue. You can use PVA glue if that's all you have, or hot glue as well. That'll work well as well. But yeah, I like to use tacky glue whenever I'm using fabric or I'm sticking down like a thick piece of cardboard or something to my page, because that is just a nice strong glue. And I did stick another layer of that denim yarn for the door. I just felt it looked a bit short, as if the door was a bit cramped on the matted piece. So that I felt looked a bit better. I'm just going to add some orange and green paint to the edges of the phrase and the door, just so that it doesn't look like paper stuck onto a page anymore, and it just everything on the page looks a bit more cohesive. And once I do that, I will start to work on the background a little bit more because it just looked a bit plain. And especially now that I've kind of spruced up that focal image, I'm also adding some chalk primer on there just to lighten some areas. I'm also going to add that to the background. So first I'm going in with my finger to add that chalk primer, and I'll move the focal images in a second to be able to hit the denim with it. And I'm using my palette knife to hit the denim with it. It just adds a really nice thin layer, and it just picks up all that yummy texture. I'm also going to go in with the orange over the denim and the page. Also going to go in with the green as well. And pick up all that really yummy texture. And the more I like work on the page, especially the denim, it does start to fray on the edge, which is really cool. So that just added some extra texture, and I was really liking like the kind of grungy feel. And I added a little bit more chalk primer over top to brighten up the page. I'm just making sure everything's stuck down with the tacky glue. And now I felt as if the focal images was just kind of disappearing into the denim now, especially since I made the denim look more like part of the background. So I'm taking some more plain book paper and I'm going to mat the images and the phrase with that book paper. So first I made it like very close, and I thought it would be cool to kind of make it look like a shadow or something. So I've offset that plain book paper from the image, and you can see, so there's just a bit of a border like on one side, which is quite cool. And I'll also do that with the phrase as well, but I'll offset it in a different like direction. It looked a bit strange to have it like the same as the door, so I'm going to put it on the opposite corner. That's the words I was looking for. And I'll also stick that down with tacky glue since that's being stuck down onto fabric. And sometimes, like when you're sticking it down onto fabric, you have to either put something heavy on it to make sure it sticks, or just keep on pressing down until it dries. And I'm going to edge the page with my Stays On ink pad. That helps to kind of ground it by adding a border and just some dark areas, and as well it just kind of adds to that really nice grungy feel. And now I'm going to add some highlights using my Uniball Signal gel pen. That just makes everything pop, which is really nice. So that is pretty much it. I'm just adding a quick border. So if you enjoyed the video, please do give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to click that bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. I am out of the country at the moment while you're watching this video, so I will have a link to my newsletter so you know why I'm out of the country, and you can also subscribe to my newsletter to find out when I'll be back, because I will be away for quite a while, but no worries. There'll still be a video every Monday. I've made sure to do that because this is all pre-recorded. So I just added some doodles here and there. If you get inspired by one of my videos, Please do like tag me on Instagram. You can share my Facebook group. I love to see your guys' creations. It's always cool to see what people create using like different materials or like the same kind of inspiration. Yeah, so thanks again for watching, and I hope you join me again for another arty video. Bye.